Hello, everybody out there. It's
Yeah,
McCarter.
Andre McCarter, Overbrook High School, Philadelphia, UCLA, the universe,
Wow.
the world. I'm Bill, and I couldn't be prouder or more honored, privileged, and fortunate to be on this show. Yeah, touch it up, Andre, touch it up.
Now, so we're talking with Bill Walton. Now, obviously, people know Bill Walton, the great things he's accomplished.
I'm Bill, and you're Andre, and we played together at UCLA, and I let you down.
No.
I let you down.
But anyway, Bill has won a lot of things in college, a lot of accolades professionally. And I don't like to do ratings. So I'm not going to rate like a lot of all these news people want to do and sportscasters want to rate players, this and that. I look at players as artists. So I look at Bill Walton.
Andre, let me put that in perspective for you. You and I are similar in age. I'm 68. I'm going to guess that you're 64 or 65. And so our lives predate ESPN. And what has happened in the world with ESPN, and by extension, all the other cable news networks, because they all just feed off each other with the endless cycles that just keep, okay, he said, she said, they did, we're gonna do. And it always comes back in their world to who's the greatest, who's number one. And it doesn't work like that. Right. Enjoy things and right. Participate in things. You don't have to rate or compare everything. Please, let's just have a good time and let's do what we can to make the world a better place. And that's what you did for me. And I just let you down, man. I can't believe that. March 23rd, 1974. January 19th, 1974. Man, the lost weekend up in the Willamette Valley where the river flowed from the north to the south. It's just awful. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I'm disappointed.
Well, actually, but we'll get into that one. Actually, I look at Coach Wooden more. We've had, Coach Wooden and I, over the years, had a lot of discussions about that game. But anyway, before we get there,
I stopped talking to him about those games. Because I would mention the dates every now and then, and I would apologize to him, but I changed dramatically the day I left UCLA.
Right.
Because I grew up thinking that everybody had a perfect life. Now, I learned after I joined the NBA when I was 21 years old that that was not the case. I never encountered anyone when I was growing up that didn't have my best interest at heart. Now, I never went to your family home in Philadelphia. I never went to Overbrook High School, and that's a mistake on my part. But the life that I had as a child, and I still go over to our family home every day. My mom is 94, and she lives in the same house. And I go over there, and you met my mom, and you knew my dad, and you knew my brother, and all these fantastic forces in my life. You knew my first coach, Rocky. You knew Chick Hearn. You knew John Wooden. And so our lives came together when we were teenagers, right. And it was just so dizzyingly beautiful. And then it came crashing down, and then I joined the NBA, and everything kind of went, oh my gosh, what did I do here?
Let me slow you up, Bill. So, but I want to get back to that artist thing real quick, because this is something that I want people to know about you that I want to say about you.
Okay.
Despite what you think of yourself. Okay. So, but looking at from an art, I look at players, especially when you want to talk about a player. So I look from an artistic point of view. Right. And when I look at art, and you can compare in art and say, this person is one of a kind. So I put you in this one of a kind category, and that's where you fit. And I look at Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh my God, Overbrook.
One of a kind. No, hold on. One of a kind. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, one of a kind.
Yeah.
Bill Russell.
Yeah.
One of a kind. But I also say Bill Walton, one of a kind.
So those were all my heroes growing up, and I got to meet them all. I got to know them all. I got to do a lot of things with them.
But hold on, but people have their opinion because you had injuries. They always went, look at the numbers, look at this, look at that. if you have, forget all that, just like you were saying, which is a good point, just look at and enjoy what this guy did when he was doing it when he was healthy. If you had an eye on what he did when he was healthy, you shouldn't have any question about he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame because he didn't do. Hey man, did you see him play when he was healthy? That's you going in the Hall of Fame just because of that. Okay, so I just wanted to get that record straight. Now, Bill, I wanna move on because we got the accolades are one thing. So I gave my accolades in that way. You're a Hall of Famer. You've done great things in basketball, despite the failures that you have, which you all have in basketball.
Let me defend myself a minute here. I played to win. That was the only goal that I ever had, was to win the game. And when I was growing up, my parents, zero interest in sports, but I had great coaching, great teachers, great schools, great teammates, and great basketball programs that I was a part of all the way up. And so Bill Russell was my favorite player ever. And Bill Russell, he controlled everything and he never had the ball. And so that's what I tried to do, was to be the best. I wanted to be the best and I wanted to be great.
Right.
But I realized early on that I could not do it alone. I could not do it by myself. I needed coaching. I needed teammates, and the opportunity, the privilege to go to UCLA and to play with players like you. But there was endless players like you, and the names are household names, Hall of Famers, and Jamal and Greg Lee and Larry Hollyfield and Larry Farmer and Henry Bibby and Pete Turgovich and Marcus Johnson and Dave Myers and Swen Nader. And that doesn't even get to the level of the guys like Bob Webb and Andy Hill, right. The guys who never got to play, only in practice, gave us everything that we could handle. But Coach Wooden was a guy who, it was all about the starting five. Right. And, Coach Wooden, he changed immeasurably, because he came from the whole background of being the best player himself. And that was his strategy, was to make his players the best player and then let them take care of it. But if you were not in that group, I mean, I can remember that very first day of varsity practice. You weren't even there yet. You were still at Overbrook when Coach Wooden stopped practice at the very beginning. And he said, okay, we're UCLA in the fast break. Anybody go ahead and take it. But if it's a setup play and the defense is dug in, if Bill Walton and Jamal Wilkes don't get the ball every time, the rest of you guys are coming out. Right. So, Henry Bibby and his jaw, Larry Hollyfield jaw just dropped. Greg Lee, all the guys, man. But they sacrificed. They sacrificed everything, as you sacrificed, because you came in as a huge star. You had the game, you had the skills, you had the athleticism, you had the physical fitness, you had the explosiveness, you had the mind, you had everything. But Coach Wooden, he was interested in pounding the ball to his best players, who he determined were the best players. Right. And so you were in a situation where you had to sacrifice. The way that Greg and Larry Hollyfield and Henry Bibby and Larry Farmer sacrificed for me, you had to sacrifice for Dave Myers and Marcus Johnson, and you won a championship with that. And I just feel bad I feel terrible that I wasn't able to get you another championship when you were a sophomore there, because you deserve it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Bill. So when people look at Bill Walton, there's two Bills. There's one Bill that's the luckiest man in the world.
Right.
The other Bill that's the worst loser ever.
Right.
And so I'm in reading your book, Back from the Dead, which is a great read. It's a tremendous book. I'm gonna just put that up a little bit, man. It's a great book. I mean, that thing is tremendous.
I put everything I had into that. Simon & Schuster was very disappointed when I turned it in. Not with the content and not with the material, but with the length of it. Right. He said, it's too long, Bill. And I said, what do you mean it's too long? I said, I'm 60 plus years old, and I've done a lot of things. I've been on the national stage since I was 15 years old. I'm the only high school player to ever make the United States national men's basketball team and play in either the Olympics or the World Championship. And so, I turned in this book and they said, Bill, we only want 110,000 words. People don't like to read long books. I said, well, I couldn't have written more than 110,000 words. That's a lot of words. How many did I write? And they said, Bill, you wrote 285,000 words. I had endless battles with the editor as I had endless battles with John Wooden. And John,
I'm glad you stood.
With my Simon & Schuster editor, I didn't win any of those battles.
Right. Well, I know. But the point is that people say they don't want to read. But if you get in if I know for myself, I can only speak for myself. I'm going to just speak for myself. If I see a book and I say, man, that's a lot of pages, man. But I start reading some of it and it's good, I'm not putting that puppy down until I'm finished. So if it's a good book, people will read it. Now, they may not buy it. That's what the people at Simon & Schuster are worried about. Will they pick it up and buy it? But once a person starts reading your book, if they're interested in sports and they really want to know about you and about basketball during all those years you played and even all the way up to now, because you're still a part of basketball, then your book is a great read. They can find out things they would have never found out on their own. So anyway, back to what I was saying, the luckiest man in the world and the worst loser ever. So go a little bit into, I don't think people understand. Let me back up. When people watch you got a love-hate situation as an announcer. Now, just like you said, we played together, our lives came together, we're a part of each other for the rest of our lives. I can't go anywhere. I represent you. I'm like one of your agents. Because when somebody says Bill Walton, oh, Andre, he played with Bill Walton. They're gonna come ask me about Bill Walton. And you're probably somewhere and somebody, hey, I played with Andre McCarter. Then you're gonna be my representative saying, hey man, Andre, this, that, and the other. So I'm your representative when people come up about UCLA. That's why I tell UCLA all the time, we're ambassadors, man. We can't get away from UCLA if we wanted to. If I wanted to say, man, I'm sick of it.
Never want to leave UCLA.
Yeah, we can't get rid of it if we wanted to. So the point is that people have an opinion of you that you live this luckiest man in the world life. And that's basically what they see. And they think, when the way you do your commentating, whatever, people either love it or they hate you. So I run into the people that hate you. I can't stand Bill Walton. He gets on my nerves. And then I get the other people saying, oh man, I can't believe Bill has all that information he brings to the table. They love it, So, but what they don't know is what you've overcome, man. And I'm here to testify that the things that you've overcome wasn't in sports. You're one of the greatest life and pain overcomers I've ever heard about or read about, man. So I want you to give the audience just a little bit of, don't go too far in, because I know it's, when I was reading it, man, I like I told you, before we started recording here, what I felt, but it's strong, man. And I think people need to know what you've gone through and how you've overcome and why maybe you have the attitude that you have when you're presenting, how gregarious you are about what you're doing, how you seem to enjoy and love, when people can say what they want to say. When Bill Walton comes to do a game, okay, if it gets on your nerves, don't watch, turn the channel. But if you want to know information, if you want somebody that's enthusiastic about it, you know what I mean? When you come on, some of these guys, they do it and okay, well, they going through the motions, but when Bill's on it, he's excited. Basketball's being played, this guy's, he's lighting up like a lightning bug. So I don't see what you're upset about. Now, does he say obnoxious things sometimes? Of course he does. That's Bill. He's like that anyway. But that's has nothing to do with the fact that he can analyze the game. He can put new things in the game and new perspectives instead of the same old regular, and make you see these players and what's happening in the game in a different light, because he's been through the whole gamut. He has an eye view from the past, the middle, and now. So it's valuable for those who are smart. But anyway, let me let you talk about your overcoming, Bill. What you've overcome.
Is this a dialogue or a monologue? I'm trying to figure it all out here.
Hey man, I can talk as much as you can too, man. I'm a talker too. So when I let you go, you'll take over. If you let me go, I'll take over.
I might just have to reach right through that screen.
I have to. You may have to, because I can go a little bit too.
Give me that stern look and say, man, when are you just gonna shut up?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I already know I'm gonna have to do that again with you. But anyway.
So the cornerstones of the pyramid of success: industriousness, enthusiasm. Do you love what you're doing, and are you willing to work at it? And when I was growing up, every coach I had, every teacher I had was a John Wooden disciple and a Chick Hearn disciple. Those were the two public figures in my life. My parents had zero interest in sports. My dad was a social worker, a music teacher, and adult educator. My mom was a librarian. But I had my first coach, Rocky, who was our local fireman. And Rocky, he was the volunteer at our elementary school for 59 years. And he was the first one that introduced me to Coach Wooden. After UCLA won their first two championships, Coach Wooden came with a buddy of his named Max Shapiro down to San Diego, where we still live. This is my hometown. And Coach Wooden came to do a basketball clinic. And my parents, we had no money to ever go to a thing like that. But Rocky, my coach, he worked it all out. He worked everything out. And he took me over there. There I was, just 9, 10, 11 years old. And he introduced me to Coach Wooden. Now, Coach Wooden has no memory of this, but I certainly have memory of that. But basketball was the easiest part of my life. And academics were the second easiest part of my life, straight A student the entire way through. My challenges have been orthopedic health. I've had 39 orthopedic operations. And the biggest challenge that I've had, Andre, is my speech impediment. Because when I played with you, I could not speak. I could not say hello. I could not say thank you. I'm a lifelong stutterer. And I could not speak. I didn't learn how to speak. I didn't learn how to speak until I was 28 years old. Learning how to speak is my greatest accomplishment and your worst nightmare. Right. And so as we move through this show here, to be able to share with you this young man, this fierce, tenacious, hot, incredible performer who had to come to you, who dreamed about coming to UCLA. That's you, from Overbrook, where Walt Hazzard came from, where Wilt came from. Now, how many other guys from Overbrook am I going to know? Did Wally Jones go to Overbrook?
Wally Jones went to Overbrook. Lewis Lloyd, remember that?
Lewis Lloyd went to Overbrook. Now, is Overbrook still there?
Yeah, it's still there. Malik Rose.
Malik Rose went to Overbrook. So this is a real community of basketball. Now, how about Sonny Hill? Did Sonny Hill go to Overbrook?
No, he went to Northeast. He went to school where Guy Rogers went to school. One of our greatest ball handlers out of the city of Philadelphia.
Guy Rogers is fantastic. And to listen to Kareem and Oscar and Bill Russell talk about Guy Rogers. Now, I believe that Guy Rogers was at the Los Angeles Public Rec Center in South Central Los Angeles in the late 50s when Billy the Hill McGill invented the jump hook in Wilt's face, because Wilt had him smothered as Billy was coming to the rim in the public outdoor courts when everybody was playing outdoors in those days. And those pickup games, my goodness, those were the foundation of my learning how to play and how to be a leader and how to become a great player. Because number one, you had to win to stay on the court. And then when you won, you were in charge of the score, refereeing, and you were in charge of everything. Right. It was the greatest thing. And we just played basketball all day long. Right. And that seems to have disappeared, where today it's very, very structured, very organized, always with referees, always with parents and uniforms.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely a different world. I mean, I grew up in a schoolyard right behind my house at elementary school. It was one little court, and I lived in a row home in South Philadelphia. But that court, Wilt Chamberlain, I never forget. Quick story. One day the schoolyard's packed. Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, we might see anybody. Kenny Durrett, Earl Monroe lived 4 blocks away. Bobby Lewis, who invented the 2-ball system of basketball, lived across the tracks there. And so we had all kinds of great players. But one day, this car came up, and so I was about 10, And the guys, they run me off the court. Get off the court, Andre. They're going to play and everything. And I looked over in this car. So they said, oh, man, this Guy Rogers gets out the car. I said, wow, man, Guy Rogers of the Warriors. Then Al Adams gets out the car.
Nice.
Man. Then this other guy gets out the car and he keeps getting out the car. I'm like, I had never seen nobody that tall before. I was like, who the heck is that? He said, man, that's Wilt Chamberlain. I was like, what? And so that was my first time up close to see Wilt Chamberlain in person. Was just, it was monumental. But that's how my sweetheart was.
So I met when I think I was 16, maybe. Okay. I was in high school, and the Lakers, he was playing for the Lakers, and he was just omnipresent.
Oh, yeah.
In every aspect of life. And our high school team used to play the opener of double headers at the San Diego Sports Arena, where Coach coached his last game, and you played in that game.
Right.
I believe you played the entire game.
Yes.
I believe you played the entire 40-minute game.
Right.
That final game with Coach Wooden coached.
Yes.
He only
the one I said we were going to win before like I was Joe Namath for somebody. But anyway, go ahead. Coach Wooden's last game, I was Joe Namath. No, we're going to win this game no matter what. But anyway.
Well, you and Mark, you and Dave Myers and Pete Torgovich and Marcus Johnson and Dave Myers, you guys played the whole game. There was only one substitution. Richard Washington was in there.
Right.
He was a starter, but Ralph Drollinger came off the bench for just, I think, 12 or 16 minutes.
There was some big minutes, man. Yeah, he came in. We used to call him luggage. Luggage came in.
Luggage. Oh my gosh.
And he put the work in that just what we needed. And we're so proud of him and that he got that opportunity to do that.
So we were playing again. So we were playing this, the first game, our high school team could sell a lot of tickets.
Right.
So they had our high school team open up for the San Diego Rockets at the sports arena at the NBA level.
You guys were unbeatable back in those. They say that too. You're undefeated for the longest time. So that's why the tickets were going, because somebody wanted to see when they were going to beat you. But anyway, go ahead.
And so we're coming off the court, and I had a very big game, and I'm just so painfully shy, and I can't speak at all. And so I'm walking off the court, and I can see it. I have my head down. I can see that the Lakers are coming onto the court as we're coming off. And as I passed by the Lakers, all of a sudden, this big, giant black arm just juts right out in my path and stops me dead in my tracks. Now, I'm like 6'9", probably weigh about 170, 175 pounds. And I stop and I look up, and there's Wilt. And Wilt is, Wilt's walking onto the court, and he's already sweating profusely. Mm-hmm. I mean, Wilt was the #1 sweater of all time. Right. Now, 2 was Moses. I'm number 3. Ken Kesey's number 4, and Patrick Ewing's number 5. Now, I know we started this show with not wanting to rank and rate everything, but we have to rank that.
Oh yeah, well, the sweat is an important issue. You got to get that stuff straight.
So Wilt looks down at me after stopping me dead in my tracks, and he says, "Billy, that was just an outstanding game, and we'll see you up here in the NBA real soon." And I'm like 15 years old, and I'm just like, wow. But I had started playing against NBA players when I was 14. Right. When the Rockets expanded to San Diego, when the NBA expanded to San Diego in 1967, and so I had a key to the gym, our high school gym, Helix, which was the best gym in all of San Diego. And we had our high school was just superb in everything, all the sports, all the academics, all the cultural aspects. It was a dream, but it was a dream that I thought everybody else had too. And that was a huge eye opener for me when I realized that not everybody had that same privilege. And then another eye opener for me was that some people didn't know how to hike in the canyons and in the mountains. And the time that Greg and you and Bob Webb and me went out to Tuckwitz Canyon on a beautiful spring day. And we were hiking off on this mountain, Mount San Jacinto, and the waterfalls are everywhere, and the cacti, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And then it got pretty steep and pretty hairy, and
pretty hairy. Yeah.
And I turned around, and you and Bob were just hanging onto these boulders, would not take another step. Oh my gosh!
What about when we were walking and the guy was coming the other way, and he had a big knapsack on, and he was just whistling, walking along. Me and Bob and his cousin Michael, we were holding on to the side of the wall because the pathway looked so narrow. And here comes this guy coming the other way, and he's like,
I think
how
he
you
was
guys doing?
I think he was naked and certainly barefoot. And,
yeah, he didn't care about a hair, have a care in the world.
He was just
like, I'm not going around that. I'm not doing it, But like, either you're gonna go back or you're gonna go forward. That was the decision we had to make. Do you want to try to go back where you just came from? No, I don't want to go back that way. Not right now. Well, you want to go to get to Tuckwitz Fall and see what it is. Came this far. So some kind of way, we made it. Man, when we got there, it was like heaven. I mean, it was.
We made the transition because getting to the first major waterfall is a nice, casual, and easy walk.
Right.
And to get up into the second valley and beyond.
Right. Oh, it was heaven up there. It was worth it, even though you felt like your life was, in the barrel right there. Like,
Well, you have to be careful out there.
Yeah, you have to be careful. There's no question. But
don't stand too close to the edge. You should have come to the Galapagos Islands with us. Oh my God!
The furthest I had been was a YMCA camp in Downing, Pennsylvania. Is the furthest I had been out into the wilderness like that, of any kind, So I'm a city boy. I'm like, this Bill Walton and Greg Lee, they are crazy, man. I don't know how they even found to go up in this place in the first place to even tell us about it. I don't know how it is, but I was glad. That was a great experience.
We had driven out from Los Angeles, UCLA, and it was a foggy day on the west side. And so we drive out to the desert, Palm Springs, and we're standing there looking at Mount San Jacinto, which brings me to when you started today talking about how much you like to read and how much you enjoy big books that have incredible amounts of information. Now, I just finished one that ties right into that day when you and I and Bob and Greg and we're standing there facing the mountain. Now, the name of the book it's a brand new book. It came out May 11th of this year. So just a couple months now, but it's called Facing the Mountain, and it's by Daniel James Brown. And he's the same guy that wrote the Boys in the Boat and The Indifferent Stars Above and Under a Flaming Sky. And just a brilliant writer, lives in Seattle. And he wrote the book, the story, really a definitive masterpiece on the Japanese American war heroes.
Oh, wow.
And it took, the book starts with Pearl Harbor and ends, it never ends. But these guys, they were facing the mountain as you were that day.
Right.
And you survived.
Yep, we did. I'm here to talk to you about it today. I wanted to ask you, let's lead into something about that, because so you have your book Back from the Dead.
Right.
But also people don't know that you are a best-selling author because of that book and others, but you're also a mystery writer. Now, but before you answer that, about being a mystery writer, I'm going to swing over to a portion about your music and the Grateful Dead. And so I want to talk about the fire on the mountain, since we're talking about the mountain.
Fire
on the mountain. But hold on. Now, it's a movie that features the Grateful Dead music as a soundtrack. Did the movie derive from a mystery book? People see, I don't know if the people know this or not, a mystery book that you were part of, wrote about the fire on the mountain. Is that movie a derivative of the book Mystery that you guys did?
The movie Fire on the Mountain, which is named after one of Mickey Hart's and Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter's songs, Fire on the Mountain, came to me when I was searching my emails, I get 500, 600 emails a day. And if I cannot figure it out in the first sentence, then I'm just on to the next one, right? So if you're ever going to send me an email, just put it in the subject line what it is that you want. Right. I started to read this email and I couldn't figure out who this was, what the heck it was.
Right.
Anyway, so fortunately, I got this guy, real young guy, and he helps me out with all my stuff. And at the end of every day, he kind of just goes through everything so I don't miss anything.
Right.
And so, and we talk late at night every night before I go to bed, and just kind of recap the day and where we're going tomorrow. And so he said, Bill, you're going to want to take another look at this. And so it finally came to me that these were these action superheroes, action figures, right? And it was Chris Benchetler from skiing, and Rob Machado from surfing, and Chris Benchetler's wife, and she's a snowboarder, and there were some other guys who were snowboarders, and they're younger than our children are. Now, Lori and I, we have 6 children and 14 grandchildren.
Right.
And so here it was that these young guys, they love the Grateful Dead too. And I love the Grateful Dead. And I think I've taken you to a Grateful Dead concert. And because the Grateful Dead, they played at UCLA at Pauley Pavilion every year that we were there. And it was just fantastic, particularly when they blessed our locker room as their dressing room and consecrated the air and the vibe and the mood and the atmosphere. But so here these guys were, they made this movie with all their stuff of like jumping out of helicopters and skiing down avalanches and surfing at night with all the sharks over in Indonesia, going to the North Pole and hiking up these glaciers and then skiing or snowboarding down them. And then they cold called the Grateful Dead and asked them if they could use the music to play to their songs, because that's what they listen to when they're doing all this stuff. And the Grateful Dead, they kind of rubbed their chin. They said, we get a lot of these requests, but you guys are very cool. Mark Pincus over there at Rhino Records and Warner Music, and just absolutely the Cosmic Charlie, Say the Circumstance combination, and Mark Pincus, David Lemieux, the archivist for the Grateful Dead. He said, yeah, okay, let's see what we can do here.
Well, I'm going to interrupt.
They called me and asked me if I would be the narrator. And if
that was a great move. So I accidentally came across it, and I loved it. I mean, I loved the outdoors.
One of the coolest things that I've ever been a part of.
Oh, it had to be. I mean, it was amazing. And those people that made that decision, that was a wise decision, because it's something that you got to see. I mean, all these people that you mentioned, they're masters at what they do.
Oh my God!
Yeah, these people that are going in with the whales, the people, the stints they were doing down the mountain, and the skiing and the different things that they were doing, the athleticism. We talk about sports or whatever. I mean, the stuff that these people are doing was on another level. And then the music, I had never really
perfectly with the music, because David Lemieux, he's one of those, scientist type people with the music, and nice as can be. He's from Vancouver Island, of the city of Victoria, lives there overlooking the.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, but it was an incredible thing. Now, now let me ask you, just to tie this up. So now on the book, the novel.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation there?
Andre?
Yes.
It all rolls into one.
Amen. That's great. Because
everything and everyone are connected.
That's great.
And that's why the importance of your interaction with somebody for the very first time is so critically important.
Oh, yeah.
And because if you're not kind, if you're not generous, if you're not warm, if you're not welcoming, if you're not interested in other people's lives, you're going to miss out on so much.
Oh.
And all I wanted in life was more. And so what I try to do on a constant basis is I try to do everything possible to do everything possible.
Right. It's a good philosophy. I think it's important that I want to switch a little bit, but you didn't answer my question.
What was your
you
question?
being a mystery writer. You have a couple mystery books out.
It's a mystery to me.
What? Man, now you make me want to get off the screen and go get the information. Because I read when I went to look for your book, they had a list of other little. Maybe it was because you wrote in conjunction. Your name was in conjunction with someone else, but they have a Bill Walton.
It was about me.
Oh, okay. So they wrote about you.
I don't know, Andre. I would have to see and feel and touch and read.
Oh,
this
okay.
Talking about.
Okay. I will do some research and see if I can gather what I saw, because what I saw definitely was that. So I want to ask you a question that
I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of.
Maybe you forgot a couple of things, but no. But I wanted to ask you about the 2021-22 season coming up.
Yeah.
Will your 9-year partner in crime, Dave Pash, be joining you for the 10th year anniversary coming up?
I don't know. I'm not in charge.
So you don't have a signed contract, in other words, right now?
No.
Okay. Hey, you work for Pac-12 and the ESPN, right?
I work for the Pac-12, yes.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Pac-12, what's up? Get Bill his new contract. So you have a 10-year anniversary. Bring Dave back. They're not finished. They're a comedy act. You got to bring these guys back. Who wants to just hear somebody say, okay, the guy went down, he shot the 3, he came back. Oh, he's a really good player. He's maybe make the NBA, maybe drafted in the first round.
I love broadcasting the games.
You know, you need somebody who bringing some life into the game, you know, and that really knows the game.
I grew up, I came to basketball initially through my first coach, Rocky. And then maybe a year or two later, not too much longer, I started playing when I was 8. And then when I was 9 or 10, when Chick Hearn took over the Laker job in 1962, I had a little handheld transistor radio with the 9-volt battery that we used to.
I had one of those. I know what you're talking about.
To see how much life was left in it, and we could get through before spending the nickel to buy a new battery.
Yeah,
the nickel that we didn't have. And so I found Chick Hearn when he first joined the Lakers, and my life was made, because Chick made it so much fun, and he was just such a joy to listen to, and he was a flawless broadcaster. He could talk faster than I could think.
Oh, and yeah. No, Chick is like I said about you, you know, Chick is one of a kind. There's only one Chick Hearn. You know, other guys are good, other guys can do great things, you know, give them their credit. But there's only one Chick Hearn. So
Chick was broadcasting to me every single game. And then when I made the preposterous decision to try to become a broadcaster myself.
Right. That was amazing. Hold on. That is an amazing thing for you to do. You need to stutter till you're 28. You learn how to talk, and now you want to be a broadcaster. What the? But anyway, go ahead.
I made it dawned on me when I was in the hospital on March 15th, 1990, when I had my ankle fused, my first ankle fusion. Now, both my ankles are fused. Both my knees are replaced. My hands, wrists, and fingers, they don't work. My spine has been rebuilt, reconstructed, fused itself. I've broken my nose 14 times. I've had my front teeth knocked out 10 different times. Other than that, everything's fantastic. But I was in that hospital, and my life was over, because basketball was everything for me. I mean, I just playing basketball is like
same here. I mean, basketball. It was beyond basketball. It was
especially with especially with the coaches that I had. I mean,
Yeah.
John Wooden, he oversaw all of my coaches as a child. And then I got to play for Lenny Wilkins, Jack Ramsey, Gene, Paul Silas, Don Cheney, and then Casey Jones and Red Outright. But I forgot to mention Denny Crum, also a Hall of Famer, who was the guy that, Denny was the UCLA assistant coach in charge of putting the team together. I think he left before you got there. So you must have had Gary Cunningham.
Well, he recruited me, but Gary Cunningham, and then they brought in the new assistant coach in. But yeah, Denny Crum is the one that Frank Arnold came in my year as the coach of the freshman team.
Denny Crum was just brilliant, and the way he put the teams together.
Right.
And he went on to his own Hall of Fame career.
Oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely spectacular.
He played Louisville to get to the game that you described in Kentucky and San Diego.
When the guy missed the two.
We played ourselves. We played against ourselves. They had quick people at every position like Coach wouldn't want to have. They had, a Marcus Johnson type of player on their team. They had a Dave Myers and, quick forwards that can do stuff. They had quick guards that could play good. I mean, we were like this. That's why the game went to double overtime and went down to the last second, because everything we were doing, they had guys doing the same thing. So it was an amazing to beat Denny Crum's team.
One of the we beat one of Denny Crum's teams, his first team in the Final Four.
It was Jim Price and those guys.
Yeah, and Henry Bacon. And but Coach Wooden, he treated the other team like they were irrelevant cannon fodder.
Yeah.
And he never spoke about the other team. In 4 years, he mentioned the other team twice. We lost both of those games. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was his fault or not. I wanted to ask you something. What do you see? I want to switch over because people, they love their basketball. We're talking so much about
Olympics were fantastic, man. I love the way that France plays. I love Luka Doncic.
Oh, the Olympics. Oh man. Yeah.
That was just absolutely. Italy played very well, and Australia just superb, and just a lot of fun.
Because they play team ball. They move the ball, they cut. They play a more fundamentally based basketball. American teams based on the individual's ability to just be so great, to just overcome. These guys work together. They spend a little bit more time together, and they've done more experiences together, so they have a better camaraderie going, and that's what makes them tougher now. Because
international players like Luka, like Giannis, I mean the championship Milwaukee Bucks, and to see all the guys from the '71 championship team play, because
right
when we were at UCLA, we were basically part of the Lakers. I mean, we would go to all the Laker games. Right. They would, Wilt and Jerry and Elgin and Gail would come, Bill Sharman would come to all of our games. Right. Chick would come to our games just to watch.
Yeah. Well, it was a family affair. I mean, you see any of those people all at the games. I mean,
but when they show the Milwaukee Bucks from '71 at this year's championship, 50 years later, you see Kareem and Oscar and Bob Andrich and John McLaughlin and Connie Warner and all these different players. And, Hubie Brown was an assistant coach on that team.
Right.
So fellow there. So, and Hubie's still out there broadcasting.
Yeah, he's still doing well. I'm happy for him. I tried out with his Atlanta Hawks team. But I wanted to tell you that, so now, what do you see in college basketball? I mean, you've been commentating it for years. One regime. Now that these players, through the likeness policies and other ways that they can make money,
that's a good thing.
What do you see for the game going forward, and the players and stuff? Well, how do you see where are we going in your mind?
Nobody knows where we're going. We hope we can make it better.
Right.
And one of the things that I think will happen is that more guys will stay in college for a longer period of time, and that will help them. It will help their schools. It will help their conferences. It will help overall in college basketball.
What just happened recently with Johnny Juzang? I mean, he had a chance to come out. I guess he figures, hey, I can make more money in my first staying at UCLA than going to the pros right now and get a better pick maybe next year.
The fallacy that all these guys are going to make it, that there's only 450 jobs
Exactly.
as players in the entire NBA. And that's out of a world population of, I believe it's more than 8 billion now.
Yeah.
And there are no sleepers out there. I mean, these,
right.
Excuse me, the NBA has grown and changed so much.
Yes.
We were coming up there, Andre, and now think what it was like. It was Lakers and Celtics all the time back then. Red Auerbach and Bill Sharman, who came over and ran the Lakers for all those years, and Jerry West, just absolutely brilliant. Right. And now all the teams have guys like that.
Yeah.
And so, and the Basketball Africa League is just superb. And just the mission and the purpose. And if you talk for 1 second, I can just pull out this.
Well, one of the things I wanted to, I'm glad you brought that up because I can tie it in. One of the things, I know you're, don't really know about my touch gloves, but one of the things that I've been talking to the NBA about, and I'm actually working with a couple foundations because I believe that when we're going to Africa and the African leagues,
right,
that my product brings an opportunity to leave something with the players when you go. You come, you do clinics and do things, and they're working on skill developments when you're gone. And what my touch glove does is that it just helps to guarantee, it's a US patented product that helps to guarantee that the players are going to use their fingertips, which is going to enhance their sensitivity for the basketball and improve their shooting, dribbling, and all these other areas. Because right now, hold on, Bill, one of the things I'm saying right now that I say is that touch is the most dominant force in basketball today. If you don't have the touch to dribble, and that's a person your height or my height, before it used to be, you didn't have to worry about it. Only a person like me had to worry about if you have the dribbling touch for the ball, passing touch or whatever. But now everybody has to have a touch, a dribbling touch, a shooting touch, a catching the ball, everything with the ball. The level of touch that you have to separate, just like you said earlier, there's only 450 spots for 8 billion people out of a pool, 8 billion people. Who has the greatest touch is who's going to get the money. It's basically it. So if there's something out here that can help you get an edge on your touch, that's what's going to separate you from this guy, that girl, this kid, that kid, get you on the team, not get you on the team, make you get a scholarship or whatever. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the game. I tell people all the time, I'm not a salesman with my product. I'm just I love the game. And I know when I tried to teach kids the way I could dribble, because when I dribble the ball, I could be dribbling and Bill Walton could be on me 100%. I don't have to worry about Bill. Oh, Bill's here guarding me. Okay. He ain't going to take the ball. Why? Because my definition of dribbling is that when you dribble the ball, the definition for me is that if you dribble the ball, it comes up at the speed that you need it to come up. That's the definition of dribbling to me. And people that look at the ball or have to do all these other mechanisms with the ball is because when they put that ball down, it may not have the right touch on it. But when I dribble the ball, the guy could be in my job and I still ain't worrying about it. I'm looking around, oh yeah, whatchamacallit's open over there. Where's the ball? I'm dribbling it right over here. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because I don't have to look at it because when I put it down, oh, it's coming up the way I need it to come up. So that touch is valuable. When I tried to teach it, traveling with Kelly Warner, I don't know if you ever did any camps with Kelly Warner, traveling all over Wyoming, Utah, Montana, trying to teach these kids and say, hey, this is how I do it. I play basketball on my fingertips. And next thing you know, they say, okay, coach. Then they go out there, ball back on the palm of the hand again. They couldn't break the habit. And that's all my gloves do is just that it breaks that habit and creates a new habit, a new muscle memory so that people can develop touch. So in other words, I convinced the United States of America's patent office that a pair of gloves, right, that you could put on a pair of gloves and something that God gives people in certain amounts, everybody's got a different touch level, that I can make you get some more one of the five senses. That's an amazing thing. And they believe my theory. So I ask people all the time, do you know anybody has a patent that you know? I haven't had anybody yet. They know me, but that's it. Do you have a patent? Well, in order to get a patent, you have to scientifically, mathematically, and neurologically explain how a pair of gloves can get a person, and then the government buy in and say, hey, that claim that he's making, it's real. So that's what I try to bring to the game. This is what I believe is going to help the game get to the next level, because guys are shooting, Bill, you know, Lillard and these guys are coming across half court and shooting the ball.
They're making those shots look like jump shots.
Yeah, from 12 feet. Lillard comes down and pulls up, and Steph Curry shoots the ball. His touch is so, this is why we're talking about touch. His touch is so good, he can shoot the ball. I don't even think he looked at the basket. It's a feeling. Shooting is a feeling. And when he just feels these shots, he's boom, boom, bam. The shot is up. He's 40 feet away. Bam. Oh, went in. You know, that's touch. Now, the people that get to that level, like Kevin Durant's touch. I mean, this guy's touch is out of the world. So, but if you weren't born with that touch, Bill, and I'm gonna let you in. If you weren't born with that touch, how do you get it? You can't coach it. This is the problem I have with people. You can't coach that into a person. Great coaches, they can tell you how to set your feet, your elbow, you know, what to do and all this kind of stuff. But what they can't do, they can't break that habit, man. And that's the genius of what the touch glove, the miracle touch gloves do, is that they break the habit. I have a secret formula in these things, and they break the habit of you having the ball, and they fix things that the eye can't see. A lot of these trainers and shooting coaches, these guys miss shots, and they're trying to figure out, is his elbow out? Wasn't in balance? No, it's not none of that. There's something going on with the balls releasing out of his hand that the natural eye can't see. But when touch gloves are on, it cuts all that off, because it only sends the good information to the brain, fingertips. It's not allowing any other sensatory feelings to go to the brain. So it's an amazing product. And I'm hoping to, as more and more people, they got hot in Japan, the people in Japan love them. France, they're starting to go. So we need America to jump on board, because America is where it's at. We're the ones that's going to lead the way in the future where this game is going, because it's amazing where it's going. I mean, are these guys going to have a 4-point shot? Go ahead, Bill.
I'm so proud of you, Andre. You are the epitome of the entrepreneur who has used basketball to make a better life for yourself.
Thank you.
You coming out of South Philly, coming out and then learning from John Wooden, studying under him, battling him, challenging him, and then ultimately embracing all of the things, creating these touch gloves, which I have a pair. Now, I can't play basketball anymore. I haven't been able to play basketball for 35 years, but the gloves are incredibly comfortable, and it just makes your hands feel better. And so when I think of so much of our lives, Andre, is that now I'm a California native, San Diego native, where I still live. But you, like so many others, have come to California to chase your dream, to create a new world for yourself and for your family, and all the different things that so many people are looking for, trying to do in their lives. And you've done it. And what happens is that we come to play early on. And then we realize, as time goes on, that we can no longer play.
Right.
So you have to do something else, and you have to be involved in the business, and you have to create something, and you have to get a product. And whether it's in, excuse me, whether it's in surfing or bicycling or roller skating or skiing or snowboarding and all of the fire on the mountain, whether it's in music, it's the guys who used to play, who used to be out there on the stage, or used to be the guys who were leading the charge. Now they're doing it in the business world, and that's you. And the way that it's expanded to Africa with the Basketball Africa League. And I just want to read you something from the Basketball Africa League president, Amadou Gallo Fall, because when they opened up in May, now this was still during the bubble in Orlando when they had their first season, because everything has changed because of COVID, but excuse me, the excitement generated by the Basketball Africa League. And so this is a direct quote from BAL president Amadou Gallo Fall. We're thrilled that the inaugural Basketball Africa League season will take place at the world-class Kigali Arena. And through the Basketball Africa League, we will provide a platform for elite players from across the continent of Africa to showcase their talent and inspire fans of all ages. Use basketball as an economic growth engine across the continent and shine a light on Africa's vibrant sporting culture. Now, that is one of the great sentences ever written, because it really encapsulates everything that we've been talking about today.
Exactly.
And that's one of the challenges that we have in the world. I mean, one of John Wooden's greatest strengths, he was such a positive person and such an incredibly optimistic and hopeful, inspiring teacher and leader, but he knew, as we did not, he knew when he was coaching us that we were going to have trouble later on.
Right.
But when we were teenagers, man, we just thought it was just this is going to go on endlessly.
Right.
Perfect for
we owned the world.
Yeah. But then, he had all those tools to overcome the adversity. And now we're seeing that. And what you're doing with Touch Club, what the NBA is doing with the Basketball Africa League, you are to be commended and honored and paid tribute to, because you are driving it forward to a better place. And what we saw with the Olympic gold medal with Team USA and all these tremendous players sacrificing to feed Kevin Durant, who was the best of the best.
Right.
Also to see the NBA championship, to see Milwaukee on the ropes to Brooklyn early on, and then the simple fate of injuries to Harden and Kyrie. And then Giannis takes over. Drew Holiday, also from UCLA, takes over. That guy, what was his name? Donaton? What was the guy from Notre Dame's name for Milwaukee that shot all the 3-pointers and was all over the floor? And he was just tremendous. And Brook Lopez from the Conference of Champions, he was huge.
Yeah.
And then PJ Tucker. I mean, what a job.
Good addition. That was a good move to get him in there, because he's tough, man. He's gonna play hard no matter what. He's gonna fight, battle, kick, whatever.
I like guys who fight to win, man. He played to win. He didn't care about how.
I want to bring up something real quick about your brother Bruce.
Yeah.
So Bruce, because I see this correlation here. So with Bruce, when you in your book, you talk about the role that Bruce played in your life as a protector, because you were a frail, build as you were growing or whatever. And guys, and you had skill though. So guys are pissed off. You wasn't like a big oaf. Some guys are big and tall, but they just don't have the coordination. But you had all that, and you were tall, but you were skinny, and and you were just, a lightweight as far as they were concerned. But you had this brother over here that was a different build and a different type of guy. So now you mess with Billy, which what they used to call you back then. You mess with Billy, you're gonna have to mess with me. So it's funny. So shoot forward, and when I'm in college, not in college, in high school, we played in the Sunny Hill League. That was one of the leagues. I played in about 4 leagues in the summer. So I was just like you, played endless basketball. I played in the Sunny Hill League. I played over this rec league, Marion Anderson League. Over here, this league, I go from one league, one game to the next game, all summer long.
And that doesn't even count the pickup games.
Yeah, well, pickup games, that's every night. When the old heads come home from work, we over there in the yard, we doing it out. But we had a Sunny Hill team, and Kobe Bryant's dad, Joe Jellybean, was on my team. He was a year behind me. Mo Howard ended up playing with the great Lefty Giselle, Maryland, John Lucas, and that whole thing over there with Maryland was on my team. He was younger, a year younger also. So we get this guy. So my coach, who was legendary, Clark Gross, his girlfriend had a brother, and it was Maurice Lucas. So he told us, he said, hey man, you guys, we gonna be getting this big boy from Pittsburgh. So I said, for real? So he said, yeah, he gonna be staying down here, in the dorms over here at Temple. So me and him, when he came to town, me and him hooked up, and I got to know him and show him around. Now he was a real ladies man, okay? He knew how to talk to her. I was scared of girls at that point. But when we walked down the street, Maurice would be like, hey, honey. I said, man, Dad, you gonna talk to that girl? You don't even know her. He said, man, that don't mean nothing, Drake. And he's talking to the girl. Next thing you know, he get the number and everything. I was like, man, you amazing. I wouldn't even know what to say to that girl. But anyway, when Maurice came in, we all felt a little more secure because the other team, they were like, yeah, you mess up. We send Maurice over there, straighten all that mess out. So, when you're in the inner city, you got a lot of rough guys. So, but we had Maurice, when Maurice came to town, that added another element. And then he loved playing with me, obviously, because I know how to get you the ball in the places you need it, where you need it to be the best you could be. So later, shoot forward, when you get in the NBA, and then I hear about the relationship. And you remember Maurice came by the room
right
in 74, right?
Right.
But anyway, I'm gonna stay off that subject. Maurice came by the room in 74, so you guys had a little interaction then. But when you hooked up in Portland, and then you're telling the story, it sounds like that the reason why Maurice endeared you in one of the areas because he was your big brother Bruce reincarnated in the NBA. Are you gonna mess with Bill? No, you got to come through me, brother. Okay, and that's how I felt too when I played, and guys get pissed off because I was beating them, just going around guys doing it. But now when we had Maurice there, I was like, man, I ain't worrying about nothing. Maurice, and he didn't like you to mess with any of the people that had something to do with, especially his success directly. And I was getting him the ball, and he liked playing with me. So he was like, man, don't even mess with Drake. Don't even look over this way. So I was laughing to myself thinking, I said, yeah, Bruce, Bill's, I didn't know about your brother Bruce at the time, what he did in your early life. I was saying, yeah, Bill up there happy, man, because Maurice knocked your block off, first of all. And then the nicest guy off the court, great guy off the court, but you get him on the court, he just looked like you don't want to mess with him, and you know it. And Maurice, he'd look at guys, and then I even, a couple of times, I said, man, you don't want, the guy would jump a little bit at Maurice, like he wanted to do. So I said, man, you don't want to do nothing with that boy. You need to back off. The guy looked at me like, Dad, Dre, you right. I don't want to. But anyway, go ahead, man.
Bruce was the perfect big brother, and he looked after me at all times. He was the one who showed me what sports were about in terms of introducing me to our first coach, Rocky. And then Bruce was a football star. He was a basketball star at our high school too, and he was the center on the team, and I was the forward. And Coach Wooden knew that Bruce was going to be on a football scholarship at UCLA, but Coach Wooden also wanted Bruce to play on the basketball team,
right?
For the same reason,
right?
But Bruce looked around and he said, Coach, you already have Swen Nader. You don't need.
Yeah.
And then, when the other teams would go crazy, and because they couldn't beat us without abusing the rules of basketball, human decency, and life itself, when they would just start fouling and cheating and trying to injure us, particularly me, Coach Wooden would have to go to the other coach and say, look, if you don't call off your players, I'm going to put Swen Nader into the game.
Right.
He only had to do that once. Everybody else realized immediately that Swen wasn't capable of creating all the havoc that UCLA ever needed. And then
Swen brought that European mentality, which is, I don't know anything. I just knock your block off. So if you get in the way of that, I will knock your block off.
And then Maurice up in Portland, Maurice, the nicest thing, Andre, that anybody ever said about me as a basketball player was that I helped my teammates play better.
Yeah.
Nobody made me a better player than Maurice. Now, I played good ball for UCLA. I played my best ball for Portland. I played some decent ball for the Celtics, but I was hurt all the time. And, I got hurt in Portland, and it was always a struggle since then. But Maurice, he never started any fights.
Right.
He just
no, no, he wasn't. He didn't do anything until you did something. Yeah, he wasn't a troublemaker. He wasn't the type of guy looking for a fight. He was just playing and playing hard. He can play a little rough, he was tough around the basket, and he could do stuff, and he may give you an elbow here and there on something, but he wasn't a dirty player at all. But it was when you wanted to switch lanes and go to that other side of the fence, that's when you get to see who Maurice was. When you get ready to get stupid over here, I can go down that road. That was the way he was. So it was like, you left him alone, he leave you alone. He's just playing. But if you get stupid and try to muscle somebody up, ooh-wee.
Maurice Lucas and I were very similar in this manner. Neither one of us liked bullies.
Right.
Maurice Lucas was able to do something about it physically. And he saw a bully acting out of turn.
Right.
Lucas, he would restore order in the universe. So it was quite a privilege and honor. And to hear you tell the story of you connecting with Maurice. Yes, I do remember that day, March 23rd, 1974, in the haze and the gloom and the disappointment, the frustration, the embarrassment, the sting, the stigma of the double overtime loss to North Carolina State. But we were trying to regroup and trying to get up and get going again. And Maurice came by, and then he went down himself to the same North Carolina State team, because David Thompson, he could play.
Yeah, there's no question. David Thompson was amazing. But I wanted to ask you something. Do you know?
And I got to go here.
Okay. Do you know what my street name is?
You're Andre McCarter.
No, man, I'm AKA the Dribbler. Now, real quickly, we used to play these New York, Philadelphia games in the summer when I was growing up, from the age of about 11. So you have like the 12, 14 league, 14, 16, high school, college, and pros. All those games go on one day. So we go to New York and play all those games, each age group. And then New York comes to Philadelphia, once a year, every year we do those exchanges. The boys from New York, I got my nickname from my competitors. The guys from Philly didn't give me that nickname. The boys from New York. So I was supposed to play in the midgets game, the 12-14. I missed the bus, long story. But anyway, this guy that used to work at the shoe store in Philly drove me and my best friend to New York to the game. I get there late, miss my game. When I come in the gym, all the people talking about the guy, New York, not Philly. Hey, it's that dribbling boy, AKA the Dribbler. Let him play in the junior game. So they let me play in the next level game, which I, ended up playing and did well in that game. But that's where I got my nickname, AKA the Dribbler. So going back to North Carolina, in the game, Tommy and Greg, it was some issues going on. We needed to just take care of the ball. Coach Wooden had AKA the Dribbler over there on the bench, and Coach Cunningham was trying to tell John Wooden, Coach, you got the Monty Towels taking charges. They stifling the defense and not, it's uncoordinated out there right now. We're not functioning like we normally do. When we have a lead, we win every one of those games. But you need somebody to know how to handle this doggone ball and get it to whoever needs to get to it, and that nobody can stop. You got AKA Dribbler. Coach Wooden laughs at me when I tell this. I said, man, Coach, you had AKA the Dribbler over there on the bench. You didn't put me in. And I don't know if you remember this, and I'm going inside my book I'm writing about stuff, but I was crying so much. You talking about you hurt after that game. I cried like a baby. And you know who came and picked me up in the shower? You came out. You probably don't remember this, but you came and picked me up off the floor. I was crying like a baby, man, because I knew that if Coach had put me in that game, these boys ain't getting the ball from me, and I'm gonna get the ball to whoever, myself or whoever it is. I could dribble around everybody, And the Dapper Dan game that you weren't able to play in because of CIF rules.
Correct.
I played in that game the next year. I froze the ball for 5 minutes in that game. Campanella, Russell, and all these guys played in that game. I froze the ball for 5. They couldn't get the ball from me at the end of the game. The game was tight, and they was trying to foul and this and that, and I dribbled the ball over like the Globetrotters. Coach Wooden, I said, you had that guy on the bench, and you just looked down there, and Coach Cunningham, get Andre in the game. But Coach said, you know what? I stayed with the people that brought me to the dance. These guys have won 88 straight games. These guys were, looking destined to win 3 national championships in a row. These guys were destined to finish an assignment. And so that's what he went with.
If only.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andre, the sun's coming up. It's already tomorrow.
Oh, gosh. I knew it was going to be long. Hey, Bill, I appreciate your time.
I'll come back. I'll come back whenever you want.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that, man.
We'll do it again. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Being the entrepreneur.
Yeah. And tell Luke, I'm gonna be tracking him down because he knows about the touchdowns. I sent him to him when he was at Arizona. So he knows about them. Whether he used them or not when I sent it to him, I don't know that part yet. But anyway.
He used them when the shots went in.
There you go. That's a good point, Bill. I like that. Thank you, man. Love you, man.
You're fantastic. I miss you. Say hi to the family.
Same to you. Bye.
Business, good everything, forever.
Same for you, man. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Thank you.